In this video, we're going to simplify polynomials by mixing our operations of adding, subtracting, and multiplying. So what does it mean to have a simplified expression? Well, you can't have any like terms or parentheses remaining in your polynomial if you're going to call it simplified. So let me give you a reminder of the difference between adding and subtracting and what you do with your exponents, because some of you keep confusing them. If you have 4x plus 3, they can't be combined because they're not like terms. But if this were 4x plus 3x, that equals 7x. So you add your coefficients and you keep the variable part. If it were 4x squared plus 3x squared, then it would be 7x squared. Whereas with multiplication, you don't need to have like terms. If you have 4x times 3x to the third, they aren't like terms, but who cares? You do 4 times 3 is 12, and x times x to the third is x to the fourth power. Let's put these ideas into practice now with the following. 7x times the quantity of negative 4x squared minus 4. Hopefully you recognize that you need to distribute this outer monomial to the inner binomial. So you're doing 7x times negative 4x squared. Well, 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. And that would be x to the first times x to the second. So we keep our base and we add our exponents, x to the third. 7x times minus 4 is negative 28x. Now look at this. Do we have any like terms? No. And I have no parentheses, so this is simplified. I can't combine it any further. All right, in this next one, we have several operations happening here. First of all, I have 10 times 7x. I'm going to handle that first. 10 times 7 is 70x. Secondly, I need to take 9 times a binomial. I'm going to distribute this outer 9 to both terms inside the parentheses. So positive 9 times negative 6 is negative 54. Then I have positive 9 times negative 10x, that's negative 90x. So I handled the multiplication first, and I do that by order of operations. Secondly, I need to see if I have any like terms where I can add, and I do. I have 70x, which is like with negative 90x. So I'm going to combine those. 70 minus 90, or 70 plus negative 90, same thing, is negative 20x. Cross those off, and I bring down the constant of negative 54. Now I'm done because there are no like terms and no parentheses remaining. All right, let's try 3. So I look for any multiplication, and I do have multiplication here. So 3 times 12y, well, that is 36y. Now, I've got negative 10 times, well, a binomial. So I need to take this negative 10 times both things in parentheses. Negative 10 times negative 9 is positive 90y. And then negative 10 times negative 8 is positive 80. I'm going to look and see if I have any like terms, and I do. So they need to be combined. 36y plus 90y is 126y. Don't change the exponents when you add. I'm going to bring down the plus 80. Again, I'm done because there's no like terms and no parentheses remaining. All right, 4 gets even more complicated. I see at least 2 sets of multiplying here. I'm going to be distributing in both cases. So I'm going to start here with 4x times this binomial. So 4 times 3 is 12, and x times x squared is x to the third. Then I do 4x times negative 4x is negative 16x squared. I'm going to switch colors to illustrate the second part. I'm going to take negative 2x squared times each of these, which gives me negative 10x to the third. Again, I'm multiplying, so my exponents are changing. And negative 2x squared times negative 6 is positive 12x squared. Multiplying is done, so I'm going to look for like terms, and I have some right here. Notice how I boxed the symbol in front of it. So 12x cubed minus 10x cubed is 2x cubed. I have another set of like terms. Negative 16x squared plus 12x squared. So negative 16 plus 12 is negative 4x x squared. Again, notice the exponents didn't change when I add and subtract. I'm done because there's no like terms and no parentheses remaining. Quick question, what's the leading coefficient? What type of polynomial is it? And what's the degree? Pause, see if you know. Hopefully you answered 2, binomial, and a degree of 3. Last one to see if you've really got this. Let's handle all multiplications first. So negative 2 times 12x is negative 24x. Next, I'm going to squeeze in a negative 1 right here, or just a 1, so you realize that you actually need to distribute negative 1 to the second trinomial, which gives me negative 1 times negative 4x is positive 4x to the third. Negative 1 times positive 2x is negative 2x, and negative 1 times negative 9 is positive 9. Now, again, I look for any like terms, and I do have some, but I'm going to start by putting this in standard form, so I'm going to handle the 4x cubed first, because it has the highest exponent. Nothing is like with that. Next, I do have a pair of like terms, negative 24x and negative 2x. When I add that, negative 24 plus negative 2 is negative 26x. And then I bring down this plus 9. This trinomial is simplified, again, because there's no like terms and no parentheses remaining.